Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Don't Be a Man About It. Today, my guest, Muneer Samnani, he's the founder of Oxygen Mastermind Group, and he's here to share his breathtaking story. When I first heard it, I thought that the whole world should listen to it, and it touched a very deep core in my heart. Before I get into more details, let's say hi to Muneer. Hi,
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being here on the show. I really appreciate
Pleasure
it.
is all mine. Pleasure is all mine.
So before we dig in, I just want to ask you, how is your heart doing today?
How's my heart doing today?
Yeah.
In terms of heart, my heart is right now um, super awesome. I think I have a heart of a Ferrari car, so it's already on a different speed. Yeah.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So, Munir, you are the founder of the Oxygen Mastermind Group, and you also work with teenagers and entrepreneurs, and you help them rock their goals and turn them into reality. Before that, would you like to introduce a small introduction about more of that?
About what I do.
Yes.
So, as you've already mentioned, I am a business coach. I run a company called Oxygen Management Consultant, and I work with entrepreneurs, SME entrepreneurs from startups to 100 million dirhams turnover, and I help them to be more than they think they are. This is a value or a belief system or a purpose which is in my life, and that is also a tagline of my company to help people to be more than they think they are. And I work with them on one-to-one basis, and also run mastermind groups where these entrepreneurs come together to support and help each other. I also work with teenagers 13 to 18 years old, and I try to teach them life skills, skills that school doesn't teach. And then we realize that, oh, nobody taught us this. So I want to ensure that they learn this much before they enter into the real world. So they have this holistic development to deal with challenges, address things that I'm sure you've been addressing in your podcast to a different way, um, so that they are well grounded, well prepared.
Kudos
Yeah.
to you for doing that. I'm definitely going to hit on the teenagers group because that's very important these days. But you have a very famous statement that you keep on saying, which is if you have problems, eat them for breakfast.
Yeah.
Where is that mindset coming from?
So I think everybody has problems. I have had a lot of problems in my life, and I think people wish that they shouldn't have any problems in their life, which is not possible. So the first is accept the fact that there will always be challenges and problems in your life,
Mm.
and if you are ready to address them, then let's address them in the first thing in the morning because you have the right energy to address it. So I say expect problems and eat them for breakfast. So finish it in the morning so you can go back and do what you want to do. So instead of running away from your problems, let's face it. Let's go head on, challenge the problems, and solve it so your life is under more control. So instead of running away, I always say, bring it on. Let's face it and let's solve it.
I love everything about that statement except one word, which is expect. Don't you think that's a bit of manifesting problems?
It's a good thing. Is it manifesting? The answer is maybe, maybe not. It depends upon what you see. One of the thing I teach as coach is, are you seeing a problem as a problem or as an opportunity?
Mm.
So if you switch that in your head and say, oh, this problem is an opportunity for me to grow, then every time you face a challenge, a hurdle, it's an opportunity to jump above it, to grow. I always tell people when there is a challenge, you should be happy because by solving that challenge, by solving that problem, you're going to do something that you've never done. And by doing that, you will grow, you will learn, you will get experience. And that experience is something that will make you different than others. So instead of telling that life is not going to be, it's going to be everything is perfect, okay, even if it's not perfect, let's make it perfect because you have the power to make it perfect.
To make the best out of any situation, bad or good.
Situations.
Totally agree.
Right.
So, Munir, you are a father of two and you are a
Yes.
single dad.
Yes.
And you're here basically to share your story of how you became a single dad and what came out of it. Would you like to feel free to share either the full story or just give us a brief about that? And happy
Sure. So
Father's
I
Day.
be
Just
thank you, and also happy Mother's Day to me.
yes, happy Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Of course. I became single dad in 2016. I wasn't expecting to become a single dad. It was something that happened to me. So I wasn't prepared. That was my challenge. My son, I have two kids. My son is now 15 years old. That time he was 10 years old, and my daughter, who was 7 years old at that time, and now she is 12 years old. The question was, since I wasn't prepared for it, um, I wasn't sure how to solve it.
Mm.
And I think that was the biggest challenge. It was one fine day me knowing that this is what has happened to me, and now the journey starts from here. So just not that, but also being a business owner, ensuring that you're running around your business, trying to do what it requires. The first realization was that life is not going to be same anymore. It is going to be different, and I cannot live the way I was living until now. There are a lot of things that I have not done in my life that now I will have to do it. Um, One of the belief system I have is, they say as a mother has an instinct of a father as well. I personally and truly believe this, and not now, because I'm a teacher educator. I had this belief system from many years when I was going through this teacher education certification that every father also has an instinct of a mother. It's just that they never go and touch. And if they would really go and touch that part of their inner self, I think they would be able to do uh, a good justice to that role also. But what happens is that because you have a mother and a father at home, we keep the roles separated and we say, okay, I'll do this, you do this. But when there is a gap, and when you try to fill up that gap, you actually realize that, oh, I can do this and I can do that. And as simple as I didn't know if I could cook because I wasn't cooking. And when this happened and I had to start learning cooking, initially it was like a pain that why am I doing this? But as soon as I jumped into it and I accepted the fact that I have to learn cooking, I started enjoying my stuff and I started practicing a lot of stuff. Um, I went to YouTube, I started learning. It wasn't perfect at the first time, but then it started becoming perfect slowly and steadily. So every single thing where I had to enter, which I had not entered earlier, was a learning curve for me. Did I know? The answer is no. Did I learn? The answer is yes. Am I still learning? The answer is yes. Am I enjoying? The answer is very much. I'm enjoying it. Um, was it easy? The answer is no. I had to go through a lot of struggles to understand how things work because all of a sudden there is responsibility to take care of the house as well as work, your clients, yourself, and every other thing that is around you, and your parents, your family, they are also there. So you somewhere I had to sit back and say, okay, now I'm a single dad. So the first step is accept that I'm a single dad, and being a single dad requires much more other stuff that needs to happen, and now I have to sort it out how to do all of this.
Mm. Um, they say, I've read somewhere that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, only if you were able to apply the right tools that you have been learning throughout your life. And then you can face whatever did not kill you. Having said that, what would be the five or six, or I don't know, name as many as you want, barriers of being a single dad, whether it was emotional or social, financial, anything? What are the barriers?
I think there are a lot of barriers being a single dad. If you look at it as a barrier, so of course the first is the it's not a barrier but a concern that what will happen to the kids,
Mm,
right? um, because what happens that when you become a single dad or single parent, there is also a lot of impact on the kids, so they go through an emotional trauma. So that was my first biggest challenge, that because they both were going through a lot of challenge, a trauma in their life, my stuff was that they should not go any steps backward in their life thinking that they are responsible for this or why did this happen to them. So that was what was my first biggest challenge to ensure that they are okay, they are not suffering anything mentally, and ensuring that everything else in their life is as good as it was before. So to ensure that school is happening properly and they're not suffering in their grades or the way they are performing there. They are also performing in all the other extracurricular activities that they were doing it before. Because all of a sudden the life takes a turn and they also start taking back step by saying, okay, now I don't think I can do this. Now I don't think we can go here. So first was, of course, kids and to work with them. Second was my own self, because I was shocked and I had to understand. Usually what happens is that, and I also made a reel out of it recently, is when you are in a problem, people think, why did this happen to me? Right? So the second barrier in my life was, why did this happen to me? And I realized that instead of now asking why, the question that I had to just flip is, what is there for me to learn from this? The moment I had that switch, life was a little bit much more under control. So rather than saying why this happened, it was, that was the second thing, that to work on yourself. So the second barrier was, how do you work on your own mindset? And instead of in being in that grief and going through that constant venting inside yourself, that, oh, why did this happen, and why me, and now what will I do, and what will happen, that shift. So second barrier was to work on your own mindset. Third is, of course, the society also looks onto you, because the way the society looks is, if you are a single dad, or something happened to you, or if you've been through a separation, probably as a man you are more responsible for that rather than a female.
I was just going to ask, thank you for highlighting this. Before you move on, I was just going to ask, do the society treat a single dad or a divorced man the way or the same way they do with a woman?
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
If you say society in large, no. If you ask me society in large, in general, the answer is no. The first reaction of a lot of people was, I'm sure you must have done something because of which this has happened to you.
You must cheated on your wife.
Because something, right? And there were a lot of stories that went around that, oh, you must have done X, you must have done Y, and that's why this must have happened to you, rather than anybody genuinely saying that, oh, there are chances that you are okay and the other person is not okay with you, which is also fine in that case. Somebody is not okay with you, they have the right to move out and move on. But because the society looks man as being the first most responsible person for any wrong act, a lot of people looked at it, and I would not say they are wrong. I would justify their perception, because that's how the society trains you. So that was their perception, and I was okay with it, because I had no justification to change that perception. So that's one. The no was because there are certain people who really know you, who are very close to you, and they didn't judge me, and they said, no, Munir, we understand that something must have gone wrong, and we genuinely think that this has happened to you, and you are genuine, and let's support you. And by support, I mean just being there around, being available to talk, to ask questions. Like, I have a friend, the name, one of the close. I don't know how to cook, so I had to call his wife and say, "How do I cook pasta?" The kids wants to eat pasta, and she would say, "Let me cook and send it to you." And I'm like, "No, no, no, please don't cook," because most of the time she would cook and just send it to me, and I say, "But then my learning is not getting completed. Or every time you send me, I'm happy, but when will I learn?" So I had to keep falling back on these friends and their families to ask questions and learn from them. Um, Being a single dad, there's another challenge, especially when you have a daughter, right? So you go for a movie, and now she wants to go to washroom, and she doesn't want to come to male washroom, and you are not comfortable sending a 7-year-old to a female washroom. And what do? Right? So that's the kind of frustration you go through and say, what do I do?
Yeah.
So the solution is, let's leave the movie, let's go home, let's go to the washroom. We will come next day and complete the other half of the movie. Right? So these are some of the frustration that happens, right? My daughter is a dancer, she wanted to perform, and the organizers called me and said that she's awesome in what she's doing, sir. She's the best dancer, but she will not win. And I'm like, why is that so? because she doesn't come on the stage well dressed. She just comes and dances. Her dresses are just the normal dresses. They are not, when you go for a performance, you need to dress up to that performance. And she doesn't wear a makeup, and her hairs are not well done. And if you don't work on all these, she's losing points on all these. So just on dances, just on a dance performance. And that's the frustration. You go at that time and say, who do I ask for help now? Who can help me to do her makeup? And so, and then you keep asking people, and then some people say, sorry, I don't have time. And you also understand that because people are busy, it's a country where everybody's working hard to survive. You can't expect too much. And but there are few people who just jump up and say, oh, don't worry, I will do it for you, and I will come with you, and I will ensure that I'll stand backstage with her so that everything is tucked in, she looks proper. And you just can't thank them enough for that moment, for jumping and playing that role. So yes, it's a struggle. The society for the longest period of time doesn't see you um, as they should see you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's if you are true to yourself. I have a formula in my life. If you think you're right, keep your head down and keep moving, keep working, keep giving your best shot. Time is the biggest answer to every problem. I personally feel that time is the biggest answer, and time will tell everybody if you were genuine enough or not. And I think that's this. I mean, so just to build up, the third barrier is you have to learn a lot of skills that you have not learned. Right
Cooking is
now,
one of them. What else?
cooking is one of them. Second is that it doesn't matter whether you had a good day or a bad day. You still have to come home and do every single thing to ensure that they are okay. You know, Friday is the only off I take, but there is things that you have to do on Fridays for them. Um, so 24/7 there is a clock which is inside, constantly working. You have work, you might be staying up late night, but you have to get up at 5:30. There is no excuse for that because you have to send them to school. So again, these are some of the certain challenges to start working with till you get fit into this routine.
Yeah.
So routine is the biggest challenge. You know,
Munir, you being a coach and a trainer and someone in the educational industry for so long, definitely could be, not could be, was a very good reason for you to be able to get yourself out of that emotional shock and to get to make something good out of it. How did you help your kids accept the situation the way you did, and how did you help them realize that now our lives going to be different and it's just us now instead of being four, being three?
so there are certain steps that I had followed inside my head and actually followed with them, and I'll give you a few examples. That the first thing was to tell the kids the fact.
So you told them the whole story.
I told them the full story. I said, listen, this has happened to us, and I don't know if you want to listen to this or not, but this is what has happened to us. And so I had to tell all the facts to them by saying, now mom is not there, we are all three. If you ask me a lot of questions, I seriously don't have a lot of answers to those questions. And we will try to unfold the answers as we move forward. And just to give you one incident, that what happens is that a lot of things run in their mind which we don't know,
Yeah.
right? So this was just a month down, I was a single dad, and I dropped my kids to the school. So my daughter went inside and my son came out again. After she went inside, he came out, and I was still standing there near my car. And he came out and he asked me a question. He said, can I ask you a question? I said, no, go inside. Once you come out, after the school, you can ask me. I'm coming home. I'm not going anywhere. He said, no, I want to ask you before you go to work. And I said, okay, ask me. He said, when we come back home, you will be there, right? So I was like, yeah, why? He said, no, I shouldn't be shocked that you are also not there, right? And I should know if you are not going to be there. Because, and I never thought this would be a thought that would be going in their head, that, somebody's left, what the other person leaves, what happens to us? So I had to sit around, go tell them every single thing that has happened. create a structure, because now the life is different. So you have to do this, I have to do this, you have to do this, and this is how the life will function. So we had to, this. So one is telling them. Second was to create a calendar between us, because now things have changed. So I can do X, you will have to do Y. So including, okay, today I will wash the utensils, tomorrow you will wash the utensils, third day, she will do it. So creating those small routine that they also get engaged into, and I also get engaged into. So that was the second thing. Third is I changed the environment.
So what do you mean by that?
So I started putting up a lot of things in my house that makes them feel happy. So do you see the tree behind me?
I did.
Right? Yeah. So this has been painted by me. The entire wall is painted by me. So being an artist, I love doing this. So I painted that, and then I put all the happy pictures on the tree. So there are almost 30 pictures on this wall.
I like that.
Right? And it's an unconscious suggestions to the mind of the people in this house that look, all of them are happy. There is no crying pictures over here. Right? So that was another suggestion saying it's a happy place, you know, everything is okay, we are good. So I changed the environment and I made the environment much more happy. Um, I've also put some of the sayings that I love it. So as you enter in my house, there is this saying which says, "The devil whispers the warrior, you can't withstand the storm." The devil whispers the warrior, "You can't withstand the storm." The warrior responds, "I am the storm." Right?
I love that.
So yeah, so so I told them, so there is no storm, we are the storm. Right? We are
But
the
were they
storm.
allowed? That's that. I just want to make a distinction here. So that's, I find it very useful to change the environment, especially after an emotional trauma. But were they allowed to express their sadness at the same time to express their loss, to grieve the loss?
Yes. So one of the things I used to do is that once I used to come home, I used to sit with them and I used to speak them, telling, okay, so how are you feeling now? What upset you? What made you happy today? Was there something that you didn't like? Because I also don't want them to see other parents
Yeah.
and either get upset or happy. Happy, I'm okay with, but either get upset or jealous, or put people into compartments. Oh, just because my mom did this to me, all the moms in the world are like this, right? So my stuff was that, no, look, I have a mom, right? So my mother takes care of them, and they're seeing it. My brother's wife, right? My sister, and I kept telling them, giving the example that everything is okay. This has happened to you, but I am there for you. So a lot of counseling and coaching used to happen at night. And when I'm saying, this used to go till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock at night also, just to ensure that if there is anything. And I was very clear. I mean, I don't know if when we met, I told you this story or not. I did this one day. I woke up and I thought that, what if I don't wake up one day?
Yes, you
What
told
happens to,
me.
yeah, what happens to the kids? And I had to do this simulation with them. So I made them sit and I said, what happens if I die tomorrow? And they started crying and said, no, please don't say that. And I said, no, everything is okay, nothing happens, but God forbid if anything happens to me, what will you do? Right? Do you know that? And they said, are you mentally prepared for any single as such thing? And they said no. So I gave them steps. Right? I said, something happens to me. Step number one, call this person. He knows exactly what to do. Step number two, call this person. If the first person doesn't pick up, call this. So I gave them literally phone numbers to call. Right? All those phone numbers are in their phone on a hot dial. Right? So to ensure that if something happens, they should know. So have done all this simulation to ensure that they are mentally prepared. Right? And constant appreciation of life is what I have plugged in from that day. So both of them write gratitude journal every night before sleeping. Three things they are grateful for today, and they can't end their day if they have not written a gratitude journal. And okay, whatever happened, what good happened today? It's just that shift of perception in the mindset rather than saying, oh, this happened to me. Look, this also happened good. This also happened good. So that constant repetition of good things in life, happy moments in life, um, having fun constantly. I make TikTok videos with them. I make dance videos on Reels with them. I've gone to Dubai Canal and recorded a dance video with like a professional shoot just to ensure that, look, I'm here. Let's have every single thing that you want to do. I'm perfectly all right to do this with you and to ensure that I support you, you support me. Let's support each other to go to next level.
That's really beautiful.
And
That's
and
really
there is
beautiful.
this one saying that I'll say it in Hindi. I don't know how to translate it in English.
But you have to.
I will try my best. So it's not a famous quote. It's quoted by a person which is not even famous, right? Um, and the quote goes that जिन तूफानों में लोगों की घर जिन तूफानों में लोगों के घर उजड़ जाते हैं उन तूफानों में हम हमारे कपड़े सुखाते हैं. So I'll translate that in those storms where people's houses blow away, we come out to put our clothes on the hanger to dry.
Oh,
So
wow.
these kind of storms are not going to do anything because people's houses might blow away in this storm when it comes. But we go out to say, oh, it's a nice weather. Let's dry our clothes today because it will dry fast. So I've been repeating all these famous lines to ensure that, look, it's some mindset. And yes, the most important thing I did with them was goal setting.
Yeah.
I said, what is that you want in your life? Let's set the goals from now.
And now your son is an entrepreneur.
Yes, he is. It's almost 2 years now. He started his journey, and he makes some money also. So I'm happy.
That's really wonderful. Thank you for being the awesome dad that the dad and the mom and everything. It's very rare because this also tells a lot about you, not only as a coach and what do you do, but also as a human being and as a parent. Um, Modern parenting is basically what we need. I feel we need that in other, with kids and children, and even in schools, exactly what you're doing. That's a whole educational system that you're doing at home. So now I think it's years later. How are your kids doing emotionally? And when it comes to your kids' mental health?
I think they are much more powerful. Also, I think God gives them strength to, when you go in a situation, sometimes I see a lot of energy coming from them than me. They come and tell me a lot of good things about, and that changes my mindset. So over a period of time, I think they are mentally very strong. They are emotionally very strong. It's not that they cannot cry, they cannot do anything. Everything is allowed. You cry, but then you move on.
Hmm.
Again, ask yourself, what is there for me to learn from this? Let's move on. Let's go to next level. So yes, they are. They can get upset. They can get sad. They can get angry. They can cry. But happy is the biggest emotion right now in the house. So we do much more things to be happy. um, there is this story I've told them, that there was this stand-up comedian who goes to a village, and his job is to make people laugh. And the villager says, because you are going to stay tonight at this village, can you do some free show for us? And the guy agrees. So the villagers gather, and he goes on the stage and he says a funny joke and makes a funny face, and everybody laughs. He says, ready for the second one? People say yes. He says the same funny joke, makes the same funny face again. People still laugh. He says, ready for the third one? People say yes. He says the same funny joke, makes the same funny face again. Few people laugh. He says, ready for the fourth one? Nobody says yes. He says the same funny joke, makes the same funny face again, and nobody laughs. And he looks at the villain and says, how is that you cannot laugh on the same joke again and again, but you can cry on the same problem again and again? Right? And these are some of the stories that I keep telling them, and that has gone into their brain wiring or the subconscious mind, where now they know that, okay, this happened to me, I have spoken about it, what's next? What can I move? How can I move forward? So yes, mentally they are quite strong. They have learned a lot of things on their own. They
Mm.
have learned a lot of things by discussing and learning through me, and they are still learning. And I think at least, mentally they are very strong. Um, they know what they want. They are doing good in their school, in extracurricular activities, and touch wood, they are happy. More important is they are happy. So I'm much more happy with them.
That's amazing. So there are two things that I'd still like to ask you about. One,
Sure.
now we have listened to your um, results and learnings and outcomes, which were magnificent. What about the struggles, the emotional struggles? What happened to you as a Munir, the human being, the man, not the coach, not the trainer, just a man who just got his life upside down? What happened to your mental health? What happened to your well being at that point?
So I would, so when I got this news and all that, I was in a shock. As I've shared with a lot of people, I rushed to a very close friend of mine, who's also recommended you to bring me on this podcast, Mr. Ansar, Sajid Ansar. He's been a brother like anything. And I actually called him and I had to rush to him saying there's a problem and I don't know how big is the problem and I don't know what to do next. And I still remember it was, I think, 11 o'clock. I reached to his office and he was in a shock as much I was in a shock. And I just kept venting, right? I just kept venting and venting and venting because he was just there for me to listen. Um, did it affect my mindset or mental health? I would say it affected my mindset very much because I wasn't prepared for it.
Mm.
Sometimes you're prepared for it. It actually tells you to be a little bit much more ahead than the person who's not prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for it. So it affected me. As I've said to you earlier, I have a mastermind group where I sit and I discuss my problems, and we started as friends. That mastermind group actually came together. These 8 to 9 people came together to brainstorm for me and support me. And one became emotional accountable partner. One became a business accountable partner. One became a finance accountable partner, right? Sajid became a finance and work accountable partner, and they started talking to me. The emotional accountable partner had to do nothing. He's like, "Are you okay? Are you alive? Did you eat food?" That's it. But just that talk, that call, made me feel really good that okay, we are doing something. So yes, it did affect my mindset and my mental health, but I had a group to fall back on.
So you had a support.
Fortunately, I'd made this, me and Sajid had made this group just out of blue a year back without realizing I will be the first beneficiary of this group to get the support. And the group stood next to me like an iron wall, and they did not allow me to go down. Especially two people were rock solid behind me. One is out of that group, one is Sajid Ansar, and another one is Chirantan Joshi. Um, they stood next to me, and I still give a lot of credit in my life to them. Um, how did I meet them? They are just friends. I met them in BNI and they became friends and now they are family. Today, every single thing in my life happens, I discuss with them and they know every single thing. In fact, the two top people in my list, if something happens to me and I die, these are the two top people my kids have to call. One is Sajid Ansar and one is Chirantan Joshi, and then my family is third because they are here, they know what's happening in my life. So, yes, another impact that happened was on my physical health. I'd lost almost 8 to 10 kilos within less than, I would say, 10 days.
Wow.
So that I wasn't prepared for because, you're constantly, your mindset is constantly thinking of what's next, what's next, what's next. How do you do this? How do you handle this? Um, I didn't realize that body was losing weight because when you're in trouble, you don't feel hungry, you don't feel thirsty, you are okay because there's a lot of pressure. You're sleeping less, you're in a high, and you don't know that body is suffering.
That's true.
And it's when I met one of my friend. I would not take his name because he would not like. When I met a friend, he actually told me. He said, "What happened to you?" Um, and he knew that this has happened to me, and he says, "I know this event has happened to, but what happened to you physically?" And I said, "Nothing." He says, "Are you mad? Look, your cheekbones have come out and you've lost like weight, and that is the day I realized. I said, oh, I didn't even realize that you know my health is getting impacted. So that was the second thing I had to really work on, by saying that no, 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 if I am not healthy, I'm not mentally fit, who's going to take care of the kids? So at second point, I didn't have an option um, to stay in that place for long, because sometimes people stay in that grief for long.
Mm.
Um, Being a coach, if you ask me, I actually cried for half an hour to 45 minutes, because then I was like, okay, enough. What's next? What can we do next? And that's where that entire mastermind team came together to support me, because I was mentally prepared to work on the next step. If I wasn't, then even if they would have given me all the steps, I would have not worked on it,
Wouldn't be
because
ready. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I still remember Sajid asking me, so now what do you have in life? And I would say nothing, because financially I only had 400 dirhams in my pocket, two kids to take care, no clients, no money coming in. And he said, what will you do now? What do you have? What is that you have? And I said, other than this head on my shoulder, which is perfectly all right and working, I have nothing. And I think till my head is on my shoulder, I think we can do something. The day the head is not on the shoulder, then I'm dead. Then probably we can't do anything. And he said, okay, then if that's the case, let's do something. And that's where things started unfolding. The journey was long. Was it easy? No,
Yeah.
it wasn't. Constantly, and I always tell people that when you go through this trauma or this kind of challenge, 1 year nothing happens, because you are in the state of the mind to overcome that problem.
Mm.
So you're focusing on let's do. This all kicks in after a year. So after a year, your brain starts playing this game and saying, oh shit, because now you are relaxed. Until now you are running, right? So then that kicks in, and that was my worry, that what if this kicks in after a year? Did it kick in? It kicked in on my health after a year, because I was running, I was working 14 hours a day, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Um, 2018 January, it was like a hit to me. I was just tired. I was just physically tired. So I had to take 1 month slow, just to ensure that, okay, I'm balancing it out. And then February month, I was back in action. Did I go through the dip? The answer is touch wood, alhamdulillah, I did. I did a lot of work on myself. As I shared, I started working on my mindset. So I do 5 to 6 positive things, 5 to 6 things that keeps me positive every day.
Please
So,
share. What are they?
so I started writing gratitude journal, 3 things that were good in my life, and I think that gratitude writing journal
No, I know. I do
in
it every day. I love it.
it just changes. Like everything is bad in your life, and you say, what 3 things good happen? You say, oh, I loved eating this food, and thank God. And I met this person, and this person taught me this thing, and thank God. And the moment you start doing it, it brings a lot of energy in you, saying, no, there are good things happening in my life. It's not just bad things. So,
Gratitude.
of course, gratitude journal is one. Pray and meditate. I used to do that earlier also, so I kept that going. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I do that. Positive affirmations in life,
Mm.
right? So I wrote 5, 6 affirmations. I've also recorded them on my phone, and every time I sit in the car, I connect in my car and I say it with, and they are my own voice. Sometimes I just play that and I go to sleep at night.
Mm.
So reprogramming at the subconscious
We
level.
have some activities in common. Keep going.
I started working out. I think exercise is more for the mind than for the body.
Yes.
So I started working out. Right now, it's part of my life. I've done transformation on my body. There are transformation videos on YouTube with me, changing my body and all that. So of course, exercise. I started watching more motivational videos.
Mm.
So say, okay, I would pick up a topic, watch the video, and say, what is that one thing I can implement tomorrow in my life?
From that, please.
Started from that video, that particular video. So today, let's say I watched a 5 minute video and say, okay, I like this. Can I implement this in my life? Let me try tomorrow. So that action started going into it. And the moment I would action, I would see results coming in. I started watching self-help book, reading self-help book. So 10 pages every day. That would so and the biggest book, and I want to tell you this story. That biggest book that changed my life during this time is The Power of Subconscious Mind.
Mm.
So as I told you, right, I had 400 dirhams, and I had a meeting in Times Square Mall, and I had a choice to eat because it was afternoon or not to eat. And I went and I checked, and it would cost me 24 dirhams. So not 24, 30 dirhams, like a sandwich and a water or something. And I said, I have only 400 dirhams. I can't afford a meal right now. I still have kids to take care, so I'm not going to eat. So I skipped my meal, and I was walking towards my car in the basement, and I see this second-hand bookstore which is at the basement of Times Square. And I just go and say, "Do you have this book called um, The Power of the Subconscious Mind?" And they said, "Yeah." And so, how much does it cost? And they said 24 dirhams. It's a second-hand book, so there are marks on that book. I said, "Can I buy this book?" And they said, "Yeah, sure. And if you want, you can sell it back to us, and we'll buy it in 12 dirhams." I said, "No, I don't sell my books. I have this. I don't give my books away. I keep it. But I really need this book, and that's it." I think that was my. I will send you a picture of my book. Um, on that book, I wrote. I bought this book when I didn't have food to eat, but I bought this book, and this book changed my life. And that one book, Power of the Subconscious Mind, changed every single thing in my life. And I tell people, please read this book before you die. It is something, otherwise, you will not know what you're missing. And there are a couple of books. So I started reading a self-help book, 10 pages, 20 pages every day, to keep myself positive. I also started helping people. So once in 2 days, once in a week, I would just randomly call people and say, "Are you okay? Do you need any help? Tell me." So these were 6 things that I started doing. So praying, gratitude journal, affirmation, exercise, motivational book, self-help book, motivational video, and helping people. When I started doing these 7 things, life became really bliss.
Do you
It was
still
like a
do
blessing.
them until
I
now?
still do them. I still do them. Some things have gone to next level. As I said, I have a friend called Chirantan Joshi. He does a gratitude call. So he calls up people and he thanks them. So I've just recently started doing that, where I want to thank one person every week. Genuinely call them and thank them. And it is not just a thank, it's like a 5 to 7 minutes call, which means you have to sit and prepare before making a call. And yeah,
I love
so
that.
some
I'm
things
gonna
have gone
get
to next
into it.
level. So
I
I
love
still
the
do it.
gratitude
And
call. Sorry, but I really love the idea of gratitude calls. I love it. I'm someone who's always grateful. So every time you ask me, how are you? How is your heart? I would say I'm grateful because I do believe that gratitude could turn your life upside down. I'm a huge, strong believer. I can't stress enough on that. And I'm also very, um, also a believer. I can't find a powerful word of giving thanks to other people around you as well.
right,
Um, so thank
yeah,
you for doing that. Yeah, thank you.
yeah. No, I think when you start doing this small thing, I tell people being positive is like developing a muscle in your mind. Like it's going to gym and building a muscle. So it's a muscle, positive muscle in your mind that you have to build. How do you build that muscle? These 6 things is building that muscle. So people tell me, Munir, you're very positive, and I'll say, no, I'm being positive, which is I'm in a process of being. We say human being.
Which means you
We
are
are never
realistic
human.
in a positive way. You're realistic and positive.
Positive, and I'm working towards it, and that's why I'm a little bit much more positive than you or the person who I'm meeting, because I'm practicing this. There is no way I am not a human. I also get, I also get stressed. I also get upset. I also get sad, but my time to overcome that is little bit much more faster than anybody else, and that's what helps me go to next level little bit much more faster.
Yeah, that's true. Before we end this episode, for any single dad listening to this, so we spoke about the learnings, what to do's, and all of that, how to deal with it if you have kids. What is it, or what's one thing not to do for a new single dad?
Oh, that's a good question. What is that one thing not to do as a single dad? So when you become a single dad, the theory that runs in your mind is, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, now I will have to do more for my kids to cover up the other part that is missing. So normally the idea is to cover up and do more,
Mm,
right? Because now there is one person missing in the house, and I need to ensure that I cover up everything so that my kids. And I was running with that theory. And one day I said that I don't know if this theory is right or wrong. And am I supposed to do more or not? Or am I just supposed to do my part? And the rest will be okay. So one day I set my kids down and I said, what are your expectations from me that will tell you that I am a good dad? So rather than running around and building up my own expectation, why don't I go and check and ask? It's like a customer service feedback form, right? So, so I met them, I sat down and I said, what will I do that will tell you that I am a good dad? I am doing my part, what a dad should do. So I wanted to do 100 things, but they didn't ask. They had very basic requirements.
just show up.
And I was really happy when I heard that. So they said, no, you don't need to do everything you're doing is okay. What do we expect? If we can go to a movie once in a month, if we can go to a beach once in a month, if we can go for long drives whenever you have time, if we can go for family dinner, um, because my kids dance, if you can dance with us and make TikTok videos, um, you know,
Just dad kids
sim-
activities.
yeah, can we play games on Fridays, board games on Fridays? As simple as, can we watch this Netflix together? It's my favorite serial. And I'm like, sure. So my thing is that at that moment, you just have to be there.
Mm,
It's, sometimes I go, my daughter goes to, let's say, birthday parties. So now she's 12, so it's okay. But when she was 7, she would go to a birthday party, and there would all be moms around that birthday party except for me because I'm bringing my daughter. And she would come and say, why don't you drop me, go and come and pick me up? And I would say, no, my job is to stand here and just be here. That's it. That's the job. I'm going to stand here and be here. You do whatever you want. And she would see me sitting alone, you know, you know, either looking at her or just looking around or being on phone. And she'd constantly, no, it's okay, you can go. I said, no, right now, I have to be here. So I wanted to do more, but they never asked. And what we did, everything they said, movie, beach, park, dinners, we plugged it into our calendar. It's
mm,
in their calendar, it's in my calendar. So every second week of the month, we'll go for a movie. You find the movie, I book the movie. You don't find the movie, I don't book the movie. Simple.
teamwork.
So we've been playing this role, and I realized that I don't have to do too much.
Yeah,
I
that's
just have to be around. And there is one thing that I always tell people is that one formula that we need to change, if whoever's listening is a business owner or on an employment, we think quality time at home and quantity time, um, uh, let's spend quality time at home. I would like to make that switch. You need to put quantity time at home. They just need you around. That's it. You don't need to do anything. It's just time. You just have to be around. And you have to spend that many hours with them. Even if you're doing nothing. Just be around. That's it. They just feel that, oh my God, there's somebody around me. So I always tell people that it's quality time at work and quantity time at home. Just be around them. And when you do that quantity time, they just feel Like being a single dad, I still, because it's Ramadan and they are studying from home. I pass by my house. What is happening? Everything okay? Okay, tell me what you're doing. What you're doing. And 15 minutes, I'll go back to my work. Right? I go to another client, and then again I'll come back and okay, did you eat? Did you? Did you? Like I had a client. I've come back for this podcast. Now I'm running to another client after this. They just know that he's always around us. He's never not there. So as a parent, don't try to cover up for anything. If you're a single parent, sit with your kids and ask them. They will tell you what they want, and I'm telling you, they don't ask for too much. If you feel they need too much, but they also become matured enough. They also understand what struggle you go through, right? And it's an interesting journey. The day I become a single parent, we come closer. Like we've come so closer, and we've so like every Thursday night is a drive night. So we take ice cream and we go for a drive. And in that drive, I actually get update about both of them in details. And we have topics to talk. We talk about life. We talk about business. We talk about friends. We talk about questions that nobody would ask. And I also try to take each one of them separately also with me. So I take my son separately because he's 15 and I take my daughter's 12. She is growing up. So there's a lot of body changes that is happening in her. And I don't know if she's okay or not. So I am okay to talk all this with her.
Yeah.
And I do talk about hormonal changes and everything. And it's okay. And if you don't know as a
No, it's
parent,
okay.
go and learn.
I'm so happy you're doing that. I used to discuss those things with my dad instead of my mom. I always would go to him. And I remember once I was, I don't know, 16ish, 17ish, something like that. And I was like, guess what? He was like, what? I was like, I had my first kiss. He was like, good for you. Stop sharing. It's
Right?
very
So,
important what you're doing. And thank you. Thank you for doing that. So you're having time to take care of yourself, your business, your daughter,
yes.
and your
Yeah.
son, and your
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
Super dad.
I think it's all about time management, which once you get a
You wrote a
control of
book
it.
about that.
Yes, I wrote a book on time management with my friend Chirantan Joshi, and these are the tools that we have used, and I think it has given me a lot of control over my life and things versus anything else that happens. And it's just that sometimes my kids will come and say, "Why don't you get tired?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let's do this. Let's do this." They're like, "Can you lower down your energy now? It's 12 o'clock," and I think you know, we. But the more you do it, the more you enjoy doing it with them. So, and just accept it that life is okay and life is fun, good if you want to treat it like that. Or, I say every day you are born with certain energy. There are you have certain kind of energy. You have a choice whether to use that energy in cribbing about something or use that energy in doing what you want to do.
Mhm.
I'm very clear. I want to use my energy in achieving my goals, in doing something that will take me, my family, my clients to the next level. And when I do that, I really feel empowered by saying at the end of the day, look, I've done something good. I deserve this sleep. I deserve this bed. I deserve this weekend. I deserve everything then. So I think that focusing what your energy, I always tell people, focus on what you want and say it the way you want it. The moment you start focusing on what you want, life just changes. So yeah,
Your story is one of my favorites. Thank you so
thank you.
much for sharing it. And I'm so happy that it turned out the way it did. And I'm pretty sure that 1 year from now, we will be discussing even more achievements and higher successes for you and your kids.
Inshallah.
So thank you again. And if there's anything else you'd like to just add, maybe one of your favorite quotes, and that would be it.
There are a lot of favorite quotes,
I know that. Pick one.
but the one that right now comes to my mind is um, life flows where attention goes,
Hmm.
right?
I was just
And
thinking.
yeah, and every time I tell people when you're driving a car, if you want to change your lane, you just keep looking at your right hand, and you'll see that car goes in that lane even without moving your
Mm,
steering wheel. And it's an interesting thing. that life flows where attention goes. The moment you pay attention in on something in your life flows to that place. So the choice is basically yours. You want to pay attention on things that are not good in your life, and I'm sure there are a lot of things that are not perfect in my life, and I'm okay with that, because we are all trying to become or make a perfect life. But am I focusing on what I want? So the moment I focus on what I want and the things that I want for myself and for my family, life flows in that direction. And I think that's one thing that changed my life. I have 24 hours. Where do I need to put my attention to? So this would be
Why?
my key learning, that life flows where attention goes. Pay attention where you want to and not where you don't want to. But I would really like to thank you for doing this job. Um, I know we've just met, and it's just few weeks back we've been knowing each other, and we had a very nice meeting one to one. I think this is something that nobody talks, and you are doing an awesome job in bringing these things out, uh, sharing with the world. I like the entire concept, so hats off to you. In fact, your story is much more inspiring than my story when I met you. And so, coming from where you are and knowing you where you come from and what you've done and what you're doing in your life, it's just amazing, inspiring. So thank you for doing that, thank you for inspiring. And I think your energy is much more powerful than my energy. When I met you, I was like, yes, there's somebody who has much more higher energy level than me. So keep doing that and keep making a difference in life. I think that's a legacy that you will like to leave behind. That whether you are there, I'm not there. If there are things around, and I think whether you will be there on that day, this podcast will always be there, right? And this will keep making difference in people and their lives to come forever and ever. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for bringing me on this podcast and giving me an opportunity to share my story. My story has been shared by people one to one, but for the first time, this is going to go um, where a lot of people will listen to it. So thank you so much for doing everything.
Thank you.
And we can't hug on Zoom.
Yes, I'll hug you when I see you. So thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rahab. You take care.